Hey, if you clicked on this video, I want you to stay with me for a moment, because this might be exactly the message you needed today. Maybe you're trying to become more consistent. Maybe you're tired of entering trades with a solid plan, only to watch that plan collapse the second your emotions start talking. Or maybe you're simply curious about how some traders seem so calm, so unaffected even when markets explode in volatility. While you're sitting there, heart racing, palms sweating, second-guessing every candle, whatever brought you here, you're in the right place. Because today we're going deep into something that most traders misunderstand completely: emotional detachment. Not being cold, not being robotic, but having the mental clarity to stick to your process even when your instincts are screaming in your face. By the end of this video, I promise you will see trading from a different angle, one that very few people truly understand. Let's get into it. The illusion of control. One of the biggest traps in trading is believing that we're in control. But we aren't, not in the way we think. The market doesn't care about our plans, our predictions, or our emotional state. It reacts to liquidity, volume, institutional flows, algorithms, macro events, things that operate far beyond our personal expectations. The human brain, on the other hand, wasn't built for this environment. It's wired for quick reactions to danger, not slow analysis under uncertainty. So when the chart moves against you, your biology triggers panic. When it moves in your favor, that same biology pushes you to chase more, to get greedy, to hold beyond your structure. Most traders glorify gut feelings, but here's the harsh truth. Your gut feeling is often nothing more than fear or greed. History proves this over and over. The dot-com bubble in 2000, people weren't buying because they had some deep insight. They bought because everyone else was buying. The 2008 crash, massive panic selling at the exact worst moment. And 2020? The world panicked, sold everything, and then watched the market launch into one of the strongest bull runs in history. Markets aren't moved by numbers alone. They're moved by human emotion amplified to the extreme. And unless you learn how to detach from those emotions, you will get swallowed by the same cycle: fear, hesitation, overreaction, regret. So the foundation of emotional detachment begins with a simple truth. Your emotions lie to you in the market. They don't reveal hidden insights. They reveal discomfort. Becoming the Stoic trader. Now let's talk about what emotional detachment really means, because most traders get this completely wrong. Detachment is not about killing your emotions. You're human. You will always feel something. Detachment is about creating a psychological space between what you feel and what you do. Think of it like building a fortress around your decision-making. The best traders in the world don't act calm because they magically don't feel fear. They act calm because they have systems, structures, and pre-commitments that stop their emotions from hijacking their decisions. One of the strongest tools you can build is the habit of deciding before you enter a trade. Once you're inside a position, your perception becomes distorted. Your brain is no longer analyzing us, it's defending. And a defending mind isn't objective. This is why professional traders predefine everything: their entry, their exit, their invalidation, their position size, and the conditions that would make them walk away before the adrenaline hits, before fear or greed starts whispering in their ear. Another core part of detachment is shifting your mindset from outcome-based thinking to process-based thinking. This will feel uncomfortable at first because we're taught to evaluate ourselves based on results. But in trading, results are noisy. You can make money on a bad decision. You can lose money on a perfect one. Professionals judge themselves on one metric: did I follow my process? The outcome is irrelevant in the short term. Your edge expresses itself through consistency, not emotional improvisation. And finally, there's accepting the risk. Traders say they accept the risk all the time, but the moment a position goes against them, the truth comes out. They never accepted anything. They just hoped it wouldn't happen. Real acceptance means acknowledging the loss before it occurs and being genuinely okay with it. Because once the risk is emotionally accepted, the loss loses its sting. It becomes just another data point, and when losses stop being personal, you stop trading to protect your ego. You start trading to execute your edge. Building the Detachment Toolbox. Now let's make all of this practical. You don't build emotional detachment by reading a concept. You build it by applying tools that reshape your behavior. One of the most powerful tools is creating if-then rules for your trading. This removes improvisation entirely. When you define exactly what you will do in every scenario, the emotional brain loses its ability to negotiate. It becomes automatic. If this happens, I do this. If that happens, I do that. You don't argue with yourself. You don't debate. You don't panic change your plan. You execute. Another powerful tool is journaling, not just your trades, but your emotions. Write down what you felt when entering, what you felt while holding, what triggered hesitation, what caused a rule break. Over time, you start recognizing patterns. Maybe you fear missing out. Maybe you overtrade after a win. Maybe you panic on retracements. Maybe you revenge trade after a loss. You can't fix an emotional pattern you haven't identified. The journal becomes your mirror, and mirrors don't lie. There are also in-the-moment techniques to neutralize emotional spikes. Controlled breathing is simple but extremely effective. Inhale slowly, exhale even slower. This physically slows down your nervous system and interrupts fight or flight mode. Another tool is reframing the experience. When you feel fear rising, ask yourself, am I reacting to the chart or to my discomfort? A single question can interrupt emotional autopilot. And sometimes the most powerful move is stepping away from the screen for 20 or 30 seconds. You reset your nervous system, you break the emotional loop, and you return with fresh eyes. Distance creates clarity. Clarity creates discipline. The art of executing without emotion. There will be moments, many moments, when your instincts scream at you to do the exact opposite of what your strategy says. That is the battlefield where real traders are forged. Imagine price falling and your brain whispering, buy more, average down, it will come back. That's not confidence, that's greed wearing a mask. Imagine price correcting slightly while you're in profit and your mind yelling, sell now, take it, don't let it slip. That is not intuition. That is fear of losing something that isn't truly yours yet. The skill is not to stop feeling these urges. The skill is recognizing them for what they are. Emotional noise. Real intuition, the kind professionals talk about, is calm. It doesn't scream. It doesn't rush. It's a quiet recognition built from thousands of hours of experience. Fear and greed feel urgent. Intuition feels steady. Learning to tell the difference is a superpower. And here's a tough truth. Your strategy doesn't matter if you only follow it when it feels easy. Your discipline only matters on the days it feels uncomfortable, counterintuitive, or downright painful. That's where growth happens. That's where consistency is built. Long-term detachment, the real edge. Emotional detachment isn't something you master in a week. It's a slow, continuous transformation built through repetition, setbacks, and reflection. Every trade is a rep. Every loss is feedback. Every rule break is a chance to strengthen your psychological framework. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, start seeing them as data. Each mistake highlights a weakness in your emotional structure. Each weakness you identify becomes a point you can strengthen. And when you compound months and eventually years of disciplined, emotionally neutral decisions, something incredible happens. Your trading becomes consistent. Your psychological boundaries become solid. Your identity as a trader becomes grounded in discipline instead of chaos. This is the true edge. Not your entry, not your indicator, not your secret pattern. Your edge is your mind. And most traders never reach this level, not because they're not smart, but because they never learned how to detach. If you learn detachment, you're already ahead of the majority. If you're still here, that tells me a lot about you. It tells me you're not here for shortcuts. You're here to master the game, both the chart and the mind behind the chart. So before you go, I want to ask you something important. Which emotion sabotages your trading the most? Fear or greed? And what situation triggers you more? Taking a loss or letting a winner run? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them all, and your comment might inspire the next video. If this video helped you, make sure you subscribe to stay connected to content that strengthens your discipline and sharpens your mindset. Because in trading, You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your level of discipline. Stay controlled, stay detached, and keep mastering the markets. This was the silent chart. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one.